guest speaker, Mr. Naroote, who is an expert in brand management. He'll be giving a lecture and as well sharing his experience about the theme game. So his topic is the game plan design. Since he's already here, let's welcome Mr. Naroote.
Thank you very much for the introduction. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity by Dr. Michael Falls as well. I know it's been a bit of a challenge. You know, I was supposed to be here a couple months ago, but anyway, glad to be here now and really share some of the learnings I've had over my, almost 2 decades of working. And also, perhaps, after this session, we could have a Q&A, so I could perhaps also learn from some of your experiences as well. Yeah, so please feel free to ask questions. Today is quite, it's nice and cozy. So feel free and ask. Yeah, so it's nice for me to answer some questions too. All right, so just want to get to know you guys a little bit better. I spoke to Ajahn Tiep and Ajahn Sai just then. So I suppose you guys are all lecturers in the faculty of which? International College. Oh, right, okay, so you guys are all lecturing all the international students, right? Great. So obviously you'll be exposed to a lot of students from many backgrounds, etc. So hopefully what I'll share with you today will be something that you could also share with your students as well. You do some adaptations, and perhaps it's something that it will be useful for them as well. Yeah. So I'll be sharing some of my practical experiences and also some of the things that I've learned from some of the corporations that I've been with over the years. Okay, so the game plan design. Okay, so what does game really mean? I think everyone has a different definition of what game means. Yeah. Everyone is in a game to win, to be victorious. Yeah. But each person, each player in a game might have the same objective, might have the same end game. Yeah. But the way that the game is being played will be different. All right? So let's say, think about a tennis game. Yeah? People want to win the Grand Slam. Yeah? But the way that each player hits a forehand, the backhand, it's a one-hand backhand or two-handed backhand, at the end of the day, it's how comfortable you are with the game plan that you're going to take. Yeah? With the strategies, with the actions, with the tactics that you're gonna implement, yeah, in order to achieve what you set your goals that you want to achieve. So we're in the game. Everyone is in the game to win, to be victorious, yeah, and that is the end game for everyone. But how you get there, how you achieve it, will be different. There's no right or wrong, yeah, to developing the game plans. Okay, it's always very important when you begin to develop your game plan, yeah, to strike a good balance between the heart and the head, or the heart and the mind, yeah. I call it personally the 50-50 ignition. So before we actually engage in any game plan, right? Normally people tell us, hey, look, use your logic before your heart, right? It applies to some cultures, not all cultures. Yeah. Just to give a brief introduction of myself, I've lived in 3 countries. I was born in Singapore, so I spent my early childhood there. And I came to an international school in Thailand for a few years before being exported out of the country to Australia, for which I lived there for about 10 years. So I was able to understand, the different approaches, the different approaches of developing action plans or game plans, personally, professionally, or even educationally. In the Western culture, it's all about using your head first. It's all about the facts. It's all about logic. Yeah. In Thailand, we have this word called jai. Yeah. Thai people, we are often, I'm half Thai as well, so I'm talking about myself. You know, we're very emotional, we're a very emotional nation, yeah? So everything's about, you know, let's say there's a word in Thai called chai noi chai, right? Everything's to do with the heart, right? So whatever decisions you make, whatever game plans you develop in this culture, you have to also use your heart. Which is another team's priority, what impact would that have? Yeah? So, at the end, I go back to my slide just then about using the head and the heart. Sometimes it's not how you deliver the message. Sorry, it's not what you deliver, it's how you deliver. Yeah? So sometimes when everything you have to do it at once, you might use your logic, take one step back. What are the things that would, at least have a bigger impact on the overall scheme of things? Yeah? And then, the other things that you do thereafter is how you use logic and you use your heart to explain to them. So, when you develop a game plan, everyone will come to you, especially if you're the project manager, you're the project leader. Yeah? But always remember, use the head first, but when you deliver, use your heart to deliver. That is something that I always talk to my team members, especially in the Thai culture, which I'll share with you, in the Thai organization where it's family run, our staff has been there for 20 odd years, over 2 generations. It's very, very difficult sometimes to explain to each team member, but we need to take those into consideration. But if we're in more of a Western culture, logic is the leader. Yeah, it's logic-led. Okay, so about 10 years ago, I was in a company called Diageo Moet Hennessy. Anyone have heard of Diageo Moet Hennessy? No? Anyone heard of brands such as, I'll get a tougher one, Smirnoff? Okay. Yes? Okay, good. Johnny Walker. Okay. Of course, all right? Okay. Actually, Thailand is actually the second largest consumption of whiskey in Asia after India. Yeah, just for your information. So, Smirnoff, Johnny Walker, Bailey's, Hennessy, it's all part of this conglomerate called Diageo Moet Hennessy, which I had the privilege of actually working with them for 5 years, and working on various brands. So one of the tools that I learned from there, yeah, and I still adapt to today in my personal life, in my professional career, yeah, is this thing called the game tool, right? It actually has meanings to it, yeah, game. And it's actually, yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. Whoever thought of this, yeah. Games, the game tool. G, which is goals. A, actions. M, measurement. And E, evaluation. Maybe some of you have heard, or have seen similar structures to this. Yeah, similar systems to this. It's basically a very basic, fundamental tool which we can really use it in our practical lives, yeah? I use it, with my family as well. Sometimes, it's family is a bit difficult, but, when I use this, it actually gets me, instead of being very emotionally inclined to a situation, it adds a little bit of logic to it, and it actually, helps to soothe things. Yeah, and to solve things. So I'll go in detail to what game can offer to you. Okay, when we talk about goals, right? Goals, are we in new territories, which means things that we have never done before? Yeah? Or are we setting goals based on familiar grounds? All right? So I'm sure you've heard of SMART goals. Yeah? How do we set the goals? sorry, just to go back to what does new territory mean? So new territory is something that, is blue ocean. It's something that you've never done before. For example, now, I'm helping out with managing one of the Thai generic pharmaceutical companies. And a lot of the things that, we've been very domestically focused. Yeah. And it's only last 5 years when I joined that we started to look at the international market. We have no information whatsoever. Each country, though, we have so many countries in Southeast Asia, the way that we approach things is so different, right? The way that we do, let's say, the tender, the tender of the products in the government hospitals is different in each country. So once it's a new territory or something that is new for us, yeah, it's always challenging because we don't have the facts, right? So that's where SMART goals is so important, right? We have to be very specific, very single. I use this term called single-minded, right? Single-minded doesn't mean not being flexible, but single-minded is all about knowing what direction you want to take and what your end game will be. So when being specific is, being single-minded, you know exactly what you want to achieve. Secondly, it's got to be measurable, right? If you can't measure it, right, how are you going to know, is it good, is it bad, how are you going to improve, yeah? So, and it's got to be achievable or attainable. What does that mean, right? Do we have the capabilities at this point? It's good to be ambiguous, yeah? It's good to be ambiguous, it's good to dream big, but is it achievable, yeah? So what does that mean, let's say in an organization? Do we have the right human resources, right? Do we have the time? Do we have the financial strength, muscles to do it at this point in time? Everything is possible, but everything has a timing. So we need to make sure that it is something that is achievable within the time period that we have set. All right? Is it relevant? Relevancy, yeah? So is it part of a bigger goal, a strategic goal? Is it aligned with the strategic goal, right? Is it relevant, right, in achieving the bigger scheme of things, right? So we have to also consider whether our goal is a sub-goal of another goal as well. And also timely. We need to have, a very strict, time frame for it. Without a time frame, you just waste time and you don't have a sense of urgency. So sense of urgency is also very important, especially when, when you have your students or the due dates, yeah. And students often, at last minute, oh, Ajahn, can we have a bit of an extension? I used to do that a lot, but, I learned my lesson, especially after, Ajahn, but my lecturers back at university or back at school, they're actually very forgiving. But when you come to the corporate world, where, that's something that I think you could also push your students and say, hey, look, we can help you this time, but when you go into the corporate world, it's all about the benefits, right? And you could just lose your job, if you do it too many times. So those are I think time is very important, and I think that's something that I've been trying to implement into my Thai organization that I'm in right now, yeah. Because Thai, we have a word called sabai sabai, which is easy going. Anything weak, there's always a solution. So I think this is something that a timely manner, a clear time frame is very, very important. Okay, we talk about actions. Goals without actions, it's basically a big dream, right? It's basically daydreaming. Right. So normally, before I have some like an action plan, when I develop the action plan, yeah, I use two tools called the 5 I's and the 5 W's. The 5 W's, I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably seen it. Who, what, when, why. Ask those questions. But the 5 I's is basically what I do before I do the 5 W's. It's actually a tool that I learned from Unilever when I was doing my internship many years ago. So it's all about talking about what are the issues of the goals that we've set. Issues come with opportunities, right? What are the insights? Insights are normally the universal truth, yeah? So what are the insights of this project? What are insights of the people involved in the project? Once we know the insights, then we can dig deep into the information, the facts, right? These are the facts that we could really use to, that we gather in order to have a strong action plan. And what are the implications? Once you have those, the issues, the opportunities, you find the insights, the information, what are the implications? What are the things that you have to do moving forward, right? And then you talk about the implementation. That's where the time frames come in. What has to be done and when. So these two tools are quite, they work in conjunction to each other. And normally it's something that I use in order to make my plan very actionable. Yeah? All right, we'll talk about the M, measurement, which is very important, especially in the corporate world or in institutes where we're measured by KPIs, right? We have key performing indicators. Quantitative versus qualitative, right? So, when we do a big game plan on a corporate level, right? You're not only talking, I was part of the marketing team, but the overall scheme of things, the MD, he looks at the overall picture. So the marketing team, the sales team, the financial team, the logistics team, and you name it, the other cross-functional. So at each department, they are very heavily focused on quantitative or they're very qualitative, right? And that is often why a lot of cross-functional teams, especially the sales and the finance departments, will be very good friends. And they'll be attacking the marketing team. Why? It's because the sales brings money in to the company. The financials are the finance department are very happy. So it's all about a very quantitative measure, yeah? Whereas marketing is all about qualitative. We invest this much money or this much budget into a television commercial, for example, and it's made the brand image, it's made the brand image sprout out, So when we talk about that, it's all about quantitative. If we don't do this, then the sales won't come, right? But the sales team are all about, hey, if I use this amount of money, it would definitely, for certain activities, it would definitely reap some profits, reap some sales revenues for us. So it's a direct relationship rather than like an inverse relationship, right? So we have to, as a management or as a project leader or as lecturers yourself, it's all about striking a good balance between the two approaches, right? To gain effectiveness and efficiency. There are differences. So may I just strike a question? What is the difference between effectiveness and efficiency? Anyone want to share with me? Because I actually I use these words very often, and I sometimes use it wrongly. But last night, I was just saying, hey, look, let me just find out what the difference is. Anyone want to have a go? Okay, yeah, it's okay. Right, so basically being effective, right? Being effective is doing the right thing, okay? Being efficient is doing the right things right. So effective is all about qualitative. What are we doing? Is it right? Yeah. Quantitative is more doing the right things right. Efficiency. Yeah. So you can measure the quantitative effects through efficiency, or measure efficiency through the quantitative effects. Yeah. So I think it's also very important to have a balance, to strike a good balance between these two measures as well. Finally, evaluation, right? The satisfaction checklist, right? What did we do good? What did we do good? What can we do better? And how can we generate the success cycle? Yeah. So these are things that once you get a measurement, then you evaluate. Is it something that was new territory? If it's new territory, you probably don't have much to compare. So you have to compare, in the next cycle. Whereas if it's something that, you've done before, past activities, then, what did we do good down here? What can we do better? And where can we generate the success cycle in order for us to, to be even more productive, to be even more effective and efficient for future activities. Right. For me, I just want to close off with a quote that I used to write next to my bed, and I would look at it every morning and every night before I sleep. It was just an A4 sheet of paper that was next to my bed for 10 years. Because I wasn't academically inclined. Yeah, I wasn't academically inclined, and being an Asian, in Australia, for example, most Asian students were top class students, academically inclined. I was out playing sports with friends most of the time, and I wasn't academically inclined. And my parents were saying, "Hey, look, I don't know where your future lies." So, I always told myself that everyone can fail, right? But champions, we simply get up and begin again. So it's okay, when you do a game plan, it doesn't go, and when you do the evaluation, it doesn't go according to how you expect it to be, right? But, the last slide was saying, what did we do good in it? If there are things that we could do better, more things that we could do better than what we did good, that's good, because that's a learning. And that would generate, as I said, the success cycle. So I think at the end, champions would just keep on at it. Just keep doing it. And even champions can fail at times as well. Yeah. So whatever it is, I think it's always an encouragement to give, our friends, ourselves, and also our students, it's okay to fail. But you just get up. If you want to be a champion, you get up and begin again. So that's something I just want to leave with you guys as well. All right? Thank you very much. Feel free to ask questions, anything, or would you like to share some stuff with me? So
Next is going to be Q&A. Oh, Jan Chiep.
I talked to you before the session started, and you just shared to me that you have been working for the pharmaceutical family business.
Yeah.
And you said that it's very challenging. How can you adapt those GAME formula with the work that you have been challenging right now?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Jantia, for that question. I think in a lot of family businesses, not only ours, the goals are often derived from the owner of the company, or at least the most senior in the company. What they think, because a lot of these guys, they use the gut feel, right? What they feel is the right direction, but they don't know if it actually will work, but they use their gut feel. So just then I spoke about, using your heart and your logic, right? It's all about striking the right balance. But these days and age, I think information is more rapid. People, information is more accessible. So it's very important to actually have a structure like this, to really do your homework, right? Get the facts, get the facts right, go through the structures, and use the logic in order to, to make sure that what your gut feel says is right and is in the right direction. So we have been actually, because a lot of the things that we do, we launch products based on gut feel over the years. And some we were successful, some we were not as successful, right? So by having something like this in place and a good measurement a good measurement matrix in place, it will help us evaluate, the effectiveness, the efficiency of the activities that we've done or the products that we seek to launch in the market. Because for the pharmaceutical business, it's a very expensive industry to be in. Each product, and it takes a very long time. It's a very tedious process. So if we do anything wrong, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of time as well. So normally I use these facts to talk to the owners of the company. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes. One more. You mentioned about the employee who's working and has been working for 20 years, for example,
Right.
and you are like the newcomer who just coming
Yeah.
during the time.
Yes.
And then how did you make them accept you guys, like your idea? Because I believe that they have been having some kind of the conservative mind. This has been done and they would not like to change. I guess that you have that kind of the challenge before. So how did you deal with that kind of a problem?
Okay. That's another very, very, very good question. I had problems actually, this year was the first year that I struggled least with people, right? Being the newcomer, I could even be their grandson or their nephew with a lot of these staff, right? So they wouldn't listen. They wouldn't listen to me. They would not only that they won't listen, but they'll also do things to jeopardize my credibility as well. Yeah. I was angry. I chose to be angry at one point in time, and I would always go heads on. But I realized that it wasn't working. It made things worse. Yeah. Even though the owners of the company are personal friends of mine, the kids are personal friends of mine, they would say yes, but still at the end of the day, there's a lot of informal power behind the scene. Yeah. So I struggled with that for 3 years. I tried to, approach the people that were giving me problems, but still they didn't accept me. So what I realized was, what do I need to do? I realized that I needed to generate a lot of revenue for the company, because the company's philosophy is your family and yourself are being taken care of by the sales of the company, especially if you've been there for 20 over years. That means when you're there for 20 over years, it's likely that you choose not to go somewhere else or you have nowhere to go, right? So I told myself, if I was able to generate revenues for the company, at least they'll see some kind of value in me. And I need to ensure that by doing that, I don't step on toes. I don't be arrogant. I don't be swollen-headed. Yeah. I have to give credit to other people who's been there for a long while as well. Get them involved. Get them involved. So that was the first thing that I did. And slowly the results showed. And slowly they accepted. Secondly, we also see who are the influencers, of the organization that has been there for a long while. So we know what their, it's part of the game plan as well for me personally, right? We know what their weaknesses are. Remember, I don't want to label them as my enemies, but they're like your so-called, they're the counter-force, put in that way. Yeah, they're not the enemies, but they're your counter-force. So for your counter-forces, you need to know what their weaknesses are, and you have to leverage on that. But instead of actually taking advantage and making that, a negative force, what I did was that I realized what their weaknesses were, and I helped them to make their weaknesses even less weak or even stronger. So by doing that, when they are the influences of the organization, of the people in the organization, though they're not in a high rank, it helps quite a lot as well. So you're actually pulling more people into your side. It's not about gaining people to go against people who go against you. but it's all about really a team effort and how you could really develop and build a team together in order to support your overall goals and scheme of things. Yeah. So that's how I did. Those are the two main things that I did. Yeah.
I guess my last question.
Sure.
Have you ever had any of the employee who has a very low performance and you go and talk to them and they have never been improved? If you have had that kind of the employee, how did you talk to them and help them to improve themselves?
Okay. So thank you very much for the question. I think, yeah, there are a lot of such cases. Yeah, especially when they've been around for so long, whatever you tell them, right? They're still quite stubborn. They're very stubborn, right? So what I normally do, what I approach them is that some people need to be spoon-fed. Yeah, some, the newer generation, they've got their own ideas. So you discuss. It's more of a discussion, and then you say, okay, let's agree to disagree, and let's agree on an action moving forward. So that's for the newer generation. But for the older generation, it's all about spoon-feeding them. Okay, guys, or let's say an individual. Okay, let's see if what you do, I'll do it with you, your way, right? And let's see what are the effects, what are the results that we achieve. And we only, just the two of us, we talk about it. Because a lot of, especially in Thai culture, or people that's been around for a long time, they don't want to be embarrassed, right? So sometimes you have to have your private sessions. And then say, hey, let's say, for example, Pete, let's do it this way, right? Let's do it another way. And if it works out, and you get their inputs as well, and if it works out, hey, just say it's your ideas, it's your performance, So it's all about making them feel important, right? It's a process. It's not over a day, over a week, over a month. It takes a period of time in order for this change to occur. Change is something that's so challenging. Yeah, it takes a period of time, but sometimes I just need to put that extra effort, that extra step, right? It's challenging because it takes time, but sometimes just taking that extra step, yeah, making them feel important, making them feel that they can achieve more, right? And what are the benefits that they have? If there are any problems, you go in and you support them, right? You be held responsible with them as well. So I think that is how I have worked my way around that. It takes time, but I've had quite a good success rate with that actually, and we have a lot of those staff. But it's all about taking time individually to talk, because these guys, they don't want to really talk amongst the team. So it takes time, but it's fulfilling. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Is there any other question? No? All right, so I believe we've learned a lot from Khun Naroote, from his experience and his expertise in brand management. And of course, what he shared today could be applied not to just marketing field or working in a family business, but it could be applied in our lives, how we live our life, and that would definitely make us a better person. All right. So as a token of appreciation, I would like to invite Ajahn Somchai Siritakan Kit, Associate Dean for BU International Programs, to give Khun Naroote a little souvenir from BUI. Once again, a big round of applause to Khun Naroote. So that's going to be it for today. And of course, once again, we'd like to say thank you to our sponsor, Dunkin' Donuts. And they're still available here, so please pick up while you go home. So I'll see you again next month for Creative Mornings. Right? Thank you very much.